So probably one of the biggest problems right now with using OpenClaw are things like compaction, context, especially too if you're on a budget and you're not using the most intelligent models. They probably don't know how to look through your directories on, say, wherever you have OpenClaw installed and whatever skills it has, whatever markdown files it has. So I found a way around this, which I'm going to pretty much show you here the idea and thinking behind it because you pretty much just want to mimic how the human brain works. And I figured this is something I've been applying. I've been seeing some better results in terms of how I want specific things laid out, or every time I start a new session, or say a compaction occurs where I can like leave off and continue on the thread so it completes a task. And guys, I'm not someone who uses like these crazy models like Opus or these really expensive models where they can really rack up a bill every single day. We're out here on a budget, so we're trying to find the best models that can get the best bang for your buck. They're also intelligent. They know how to work through files. They know how to do agentic sequencing of steps and tasks so you can get some sort of outcome. So what I want to introduce here is basically this concept that I had and been using for my Obsidian, because in Obsidian, you have like these really cool views, right? And everyone out here around, say, in AI and agent stuff, they're talking about graph views. You know what I mean? You can upload these things to the cloud, you can hook up agents to it, whatever. But basically, I have my whole entire Obsidian structured and formatted in a very similar way. And one day I'm just trying to figure out, why are we storing markdown files or something just in a simple directory and not having proper backlinks, or maybe something where the agent remembers and say like the agents.md file, or say like the memory.md file, or whatever it is, where it can better navigate and understand how to work through these files, right? So then it can like, whether you're compacting a conversation or whether if it is trying to do something very complex, how to reference something if it doesn't know what to do. So basically, I'll show you guys. I also created like a free GitHub repo where you can basically check it out and you can do whatever you want with it, and then maybe get your bot to self-prompt itself and then change its code so it can use this. But basically, there's this concept here of, say, a basic hold-on portal where it gives you directionality and how the bot can actually navigate through its own memory. Because right now, if, say, you have the single directory that has to do with memory. So there's like the core memory.md file, and then there's like the daily journals, right? That it shit says like, oh, this is what we did today, this is what we did yesterday, and stuff like that. And this is something I already do with my own Obsidian, right? Like all these red nodes here, these are all just logs of my daily journalings, right? So that's kind of what I have here, but they're not always relevant. You know what I mean? You don't always have to feed it because it can really burn out the context chains and how many tokens it's using and stuff like that. So I figured like on a walk, I was just thinking this just makes so much more sense in terms of how the bot can navigate and work through files. So let me explain. So you can think of hold-ons as like holes in parts. Like one big hole is composed of many parts, and one little part can be a hold-on or like a hole of many subparts. So it's the same thing here. But the thing is, you have to prompt the bot and you have to tell it in its memory.md file, or maybe even the agents.md file, that hey, there's this file structure. This is how we navigate through the memory files of when you're working with it. And every time, like you don't have to right off the bat, because I restarted my Obsidian many times. And the thing is, you don't have to tell the bot to go change everything in its current file structure to adhere to this system. And the reason why is because it's going to take up a lot of time. It could screw up. It can start doing compactions, and then it can just lose the reason and understanding of why it started in the first place. So it's better to let things organically grow, especially if you like mess up or you want like a better structure or system for your OpenClaw. In my opinion, it's first like you provided this layout of, hey, you have this whole on portal of like how it can move and go through your files and stuff like that. So like say, hey, if you are working, say, within a business category and you want to navigate or retrieve some sort of memory or some sort of skill within, say, e-commerce, you could be like, okay, well then go down to this. And I'll show you guys in just a second, but I just want to show you, it gives you directionality. It can move between up files, it can go down, it can go deeper within something specific if it needs to like go specialize, or it can go to something adjacent or similar to it. So that's kind of what I mean here by up, down, inward, outward. Now, there's this another concept I got from another guy in the Obsidian space where there's these maps of content. I forget what the guy's name is, but it's a pretty interesting idea, and it's something I actually use. So maps of content are like directories or just like maps of directories of where you can go. And then the bot can know, like, say, hey, if I need to look into something within e-commerce, there's this map, like an index of like you ever go to a mall and you don't know where the hell to go. It's like, hey, here's this mall and these are all the stores within it, and then each store within itself has like these different categories of products, different types of products or whatever. So it's the same thing, you're giving a map of maps per se. And I'll show you guys example or an example in just a second, but keep in mind, I know I'm showing you this in obsidian.md, but you can pretty much replicate and put this exact system and file structure within the bot, and then it'll format it in, I don't know, markdown or some other efficient language, whatever it is. I just do it in markdown. I think it's just the simplest. But there's this map. So once again, there's a map of the maps, and then within it, you can basically give it like a simple introduction of what it is, core contents, and the concepts, topics, whatever links within it. And this is something I do in my Obsidian, but I just figured I might as well migrate it over. So I'll show you like a psychology map of content. So let's say, I don't know, you have something around psychology in your OpenClaw. I don't know why, right? But this could be about your business. It could be about your automation. It could be a specific store you're managing. It could be, I don't know, something else. And then there's these different maps of contents of like what we can do. So like, as you understand that psychology is this broad industry in a space, but there's many kinds of psychology. There's consumer psychology. There's developmental psychology. There's Freudian psychology. There's Jungian psychology. There's all these kinds of psychologies. And what you're doing here is you're painting through like inline links, or just, I guess you can call them wiki links, kind of like how you do in Obsidian. And then you're telling the bot like, hey, if there's this concept, this topic here, you can navigate through this link right here. And here, rather than it just being this text here, you would label it as like, say, example.md. But the thing is, before that, you have to tell the bot in the memory.md file or like the agents.md file that, hey, whenever you see like these links formatted exactly like this, that means it's a navigation link. If you don't know what to do, go look it up there. You know what I mean? So you're giving it like a decision tree of like, hey, if I don't know what this is, if I don't have the context, then go there, because you don't want to front load the bot with all this context. If you front load the bot with all this memory, you're just gonna have a crazy high inflated file, and you're just going to burn a lot of tokens, especially too if you have small context windows, and especially too if it costs you like racks just to operate a bot. But you would just basically format and be like, yo, here's the file, here's the markdown file, and if you don't know what to do, go there. Or if there's a certain decision tree they have to make or a certain decision, go here. You know what I mean? So you're giving it like navigation and directionality within its core memory structure of how to actually navigate its own directory, right? So it would basically look like this, because if you have everything like isolated with no directionality, and then it kind of looks like here, you know what I mean? Or it just looks like something that it doesn't know what to do with, or it doesn't know that these other nodes exist, you know what I mean? But if you're giving it directionality, kind of like with the system here with like backlinking and like links, you're telling the bot, okay, I can go here, I can go here, I can go broader, I can go more inward and narrow. So you're giving it directionality. And then let's say like you are actually modifying a file, and I know I'm not showing you here like actual files from the OpenClaw system, but I'm just showing you this within my Obsidian because it's very important in my opinion. So here's a book I read, Stealing Fire, and I already have like this system I know of. Like when I'm reading, I backlink specific concepts, topics, things I talk about, because when I think and I take notes of something, I don't remember everything here verbatim, but I do remember the main topic or whatever. So when I think of, say, flow state or something like that, I have a backlink for flow. You know what I mean? So the same thing here too. You want to tell your bot in the memory.md file, or say like the agents.md file, that when you're using it, you can pretty much backlink very specifically based on current existent files in the directory, or you can create new ones as it goes, because not all of these here, like for instance, this one, since it's like kind of muted, it doesn't have a file yet, but the backlink is there just in case. So things like this. So it would kind of look like this. And this is how your file structure would look like at some point. So if I come here, I have two examples. So you can see here that these are kind of like directories. This is a screenshot of FileZilla of my OpenClaw I'm running on a VPS right now. And by the way, I have a public GitHub repo, like I said, and you can kind of just extract these concepts from there for memory. So I'm also going to paste a link below in the video. But you can see here that the current way, they're just nested file structures, and it's not the most efficient thing. The beauty and what I love the most about Obsidian is that it gives backlinks, and it kind of works like your memory. There's chunks of memory. There are specific isolated memory bits. And the thing is, like, your brain somehow knows how to navigate between ideas of memory, like chunks, or just very specific knowledge. But you're not going to remember everything. It's the same thing literally with a bot. And the reason why I don't like or prefer using Notion is because how they navigate and how they organize their information. It's like folders within folders and then files within certain folders or whatever. And it gets very messy and I don't remember it. My brain doesn't work that way. So what you want to do is you just want to follow the idea of mimicry and just basically implant a foundation, a system once into your OpenClaw. So when it's navigating and it's performing tasks or it's doing something very specific, it navigates its own memory just like the human brain. So here it's just kind of very inefficient because there's no backlinks or anything like that. But here, when you added the whole on portal concept where it's like, hey, when it was created, are there any tags? You can like make up reasons for like tags, right? I honestly still have to refine my idea and how the tags would be used in my OpenClaw. But here you can see here how there's this whole on portal of like, hey, we're in a product research file here, right? This is a product research file. Here's the whole on giving the bot the navigation where you plant this at the very top, right? It's like a header. You give it at the very top of it knows what to do right off the bat. Like, okay, I can go more specific within the skill.md file within this directory because this is a skill file here, right? I can go within specifically of the skill.md. I can go more specifically within, say, a certain decision tree or say a certain template or say a certain note, because if you inflate this file to like 20,000 characters, that's just a total burn of tokens and it's very inefficient for your bot. Instead, what you want to do is you just want to make these files and just have clean code, clean markdown, clean text where it's as short as you possibly can. I know here it looks kind of long here, right? So I'm kind of like contradicting myself, but at the same time, I trimmed down my original file, just say 50 to 60, 70,000 characters to right now roughly around 20, 30,000. So that's a significant change and everything is not front loaded because when say I have this product research skill activated, the thing about that is not everything has to be front loaded, right? So it saves the context, the memory, and it prevents a compaction within a task, especially if it's very task heavy. You know, I mean, ideally, you don't want a compaction happening within a task because it can just forget some things or some nuances, something that happened before. So your bot doesn't screw up. So as you can see here, it has the whole on, and then within it, I still have to edit it. But within it, what you want is you want like the links where it links to other files if needed. It doesn't have to do it for everything, but ideally you put it into the memory or the h.md file, how it works through its own files of these concepts. And then, like I said, I put it into a repo. You can get it publicly here and you can just be like, yo, here's this repo. Can you implement it into your own code base? You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. But it's just basically building on top of its current memory structure because I just find it's very inefficient. So I kind of explained the concepts here, and then once there's some templates here, and let's see. So here's like the MOC concept. Here's like the whole on portal concept of giving it directionality, and that's about it. You know what I mean? So if you basically get the bot to do this, it's gonna have better ways and understanding of how to navigate through your file system. You know what I mean? So on a new session, it just knows it has this directionality. So you don't have to tell it, oh, hey, by the way, you can just go here, right? It just automatically adds these links. And right now, the only problem in my Obsidian is that this is all manual and I have to do this myself. Whereas if you just give it the proper foundation right off the rip for the bot, it's just going to do this all automatically by itself, especially if you prompt it right. And yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys think.